Many people have asked me, who is the cabal? They think it's the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, DuPonts, and those other well-known names, but they work underneath the real people, or should I say entities. The controllers will not have their names and faces anywhere on contracts or records. This is to keep them shielded from danger and being outed. These are the real 13 Zoroastrian bloodlines of the Illuminati. The Ptolemaic papal bloodlines of the Greek Hellenistic period are the Orsini, Breakspear, Aldobrandini, Farnese, and Somaglia families. These are the top 5 that give orders to the below for the next 100 years. They were bred for it like unblemished animals. These families are the Jesuit order, and they control the Knights of Malta and Teutonic Knights, whom are all housed in a missile bunker protected under a street in Rome called Borgo Santo Spirito. Pepe Orsini of Italy and Henry Breakspear of China are the 2 most powerful men in the world above the top 5 families. Henry Breakspear is over 200 years old. Some say he's the wandering Jew named Cartaphilus, who taunted Jesus at his crucifixion and forced to live until the second coming, whom faked his own death in 1871 and is ready to do the same thing again. Rumor is Henry speaks directly to Satan for orders and gives those orders to Pepe during a heavily guarded ritual secret. They are the duality in keeping order, as their religion calls for order out of chaos. Pepe is the good one, while Henry is the bad one. Pepe will ignore an order if he feels it's too evil. Both Pepe and Henry despise the Roman Catholic Church and the Jesuits, which in Revelations talks about wanting to destroy their own puppets. Orsini and Breakspear are the families of the Watchers that saw the daughters of men and chose wives among them. They, Pepe and Henry, are actual fallen angels Enoch talks about that pleaded with the Lord for mercy. They are called the Watchers of Satanael, Samyaza and Azazel. That are their names. They were the two first to be appointed watchers of the earth by Jehovah himself, or the Father. The story goes, 200 fallen angels made a pact together to rule earth and fell from heaven as mentioned in Genesis 6 and in the book of Enoch. 22 of them taught mankind about metallurgy, cosmetics, astrology, chemistry, and agriculture. This was the ancient technology of old and how mankind was able to build impossible structures with the help of their offspring giants called the Nephilim, or Nephilim. For some reason, Samyaza and Azazel were not sent to live in chains under the river Euphrates after judgment. They escaped punishment and have been orchestrating empires ever since for Satan himself. Their abilities are shape-shifting, conjuring lightning or energy, astro-projecting, possession, and are the keepers of the keys of Solomon. That is the knowledge of good and evil. There are no keys or physical keys. However, the knowledge is understanding the boundaries of what the Lord in heaven has set up, where you can do evil, but not be held accountable to it. This is how King Solomon conjured demons to do his will and still went to heaven. Solomon found the gray area by using his God-given gift of wisdom. The Vatican and the Jesuits are just puppets to the demigods. Pepe Orsini came from the Phoenician, Egyptian, Babylonian, Roman papal bloodline of the Maximus family. He is the Gray Pope. Gray symbolizes meeting in between good and evil. The Black Pope does evil while the White Pope does good, and the Gray orchestrates it. Gray on top, black and white on bottom. Pepe, or Samyaza, and all of his personal information, including his wife, have or has been and is kept private or hidden. even his net worth. His family history dates back to 5 popes, meaning he is the successor to 5 other gray popes who all shared the same name. He is the King Maximus of the Cludius clan and hailed as the 13th bloodline illuminated. He chairs the Council of 13 as the horned rat towering over the land of Skaven, manipulating the Skaves under the unique guise of the other 12 members. He resides in the Vatican and controls the military for over 125 countries. He controls all their hospitals, medical examiners, police, Secret Service, Home Security, their CDC or the CDC, FEMA, the WHO, the Red Cross, and even the United Nations. Pepe is...
So if you haven't seen this video, you should go check out Untold History. Basically, Russia released information on Antarctica. There's water that has been touched for 10 million years, and they have things like this on the inside. Now, there's people who always dissuade you. There's nothing in Antarctica. I've been to Antarctica. There's nothing but ice there. But they don't allow you to go into Antarctica. All your routes are predetermined, number one. Number two, you gotta pay $10,000 to $20,000 for a trip to not even go in Antarctica. Number three, the map of Antarctica that they show even on Google Earth is fake. Number four, you can go look up Caleb.fe when he talk about, the flight patterns. Really? You could look on my profile right now. I have a video that's showing the ice wall at Antarctica, and it looks like there's hieroglyphics on the ice. Like, there's something written on the ice if you look real close on the video. So there's some people who say there's nothing there. They have shit like this under the water. And I've shown you the Urbano Monte map of 1587, which you can go look up on Yandex, YANDEX.com, was from 1587. They didn't discover Antarctica until 1820, right? AI generate some photos of things that would look like they would be in Antarctica. It showed a pyramid. I've showed those too, but I've showed actual photos from one of the voyages out there from Admiral Byrd. But, they canceled that whole. They don't want you to see them motherfuckers. I've showed you videos of actual tropical land in Antarctica. Like actual people, not from no movie, not from no game, from a military video, bruh. That's on my other profile, WhileIMe_4. Hold on. The thing about this is that this is the original Stargate. You know how you see Stargate SG-1? That's a Stargate right there. If Russia released information on Tartaria, aliens, and all this, some people think that's controlled opposition and yada yada. They have more truth that they're showing, just like they had that melanated dude in that press conference in Putin's press conference. There was melanated people on the wall. Anyway, Antarctica, at one point, you could go to Google Earth and you would see a statue like this in the mountains. And then when people caught on TikTok, they erased it where you couldn't see. Google Earth is the ops. They're not going to show you the whole everything. There's islands you ain't gonna never see on there that they use for heinous activities. Squid Games and Hunger Games. They do that in real life. Like, y'all think that's a joke. They be stealing homeless people and everything. But just like the Bermuda Triangle, right? There's stuff like this. Like, there was a continent between Florida and the UK called MU. Next to Australia, there was a continent called Lemuria. How they just disappeared. They got a bunch of little islands and stuff you ain't gonna ever hear about where they do genetic experiments. Y'all remember Jurassic Park? If I told you they have an island similar to that where they experiment with creating things, y'all probably be like, that's false. They show you in these movies all the time. I showed you the video for silent subliminal presentation and everything you watch. That's pinned at the top of my profile on this one. You can go check that out. Like, they show you in movies and shit. Antarctica used to be a tropical paradise, number one. Number two, the technology there was weather changing technology. How come all those big people go to Antarctica? You know, like Hitler went to Antarctica 6, 7 times. Y'all remember like a year or two ago when all the world leaders went to Antarctica? Bill Gates been to Antarctica. You know those families, they got islands out there like Rothschild Island and, you know, Coronation Island, Deception Island. You know, those are islands out there owned by certain families. So they kind of wouldn't own something that doesn't provide something to them. Delta Island, you can go look this up on Google if you want to. They got islands out there. So Antarctica, when people talk about ice walls and stuff like that, we have been trapped. There's other beings on the other side with tropical land. I'll give you an example. Mount Shasta. That whole place was an ancient civilization. I posted a video of an explorer and his team going there and finding an underground temple with stuff just like this. Everybody from that exploration died suddenly. You know how they do. The Grand Canyon. At certain parts of Grand Canyon you can't go. Stuff like this. Some of those places that are off limits to you in the world. Underground pyramids. I showed you that pyramid that was in Guatemala that had the lightning coming through it. It looked just like a mountain. I told you about organism 46b with Russia. You can go look that up too. They found a 14-foot squid with a neurotoxin. Been digging in Antarctica. Found a continent under the ice of Antarctica for 10 years. Russia released that. Russia is out of the Antarctic Treaty. All the people signed the Antarctic Treaty right after Admiral Byrd's voyage. Admiral Byrd went. He was a Freemason, by the way. The next year, they started NASA. Then the next year after that, the Antarctic Treaty was signed. Y'all think that's a coincidence? If I told you your oil is the water of another civilization, you'd probably say, oh, that's silly. If I told you gas is an abiotic material that never exhausts, and there's plenty of it over there, minerals, resources, jewels, diamonds, gold, silver, all kinds of stuff hidden over there, you know, and the treaty was signed so nobody could own it because they were trying to hide something over there. But why throughout history some of the most important prominent figures go to Antarctica? It's just a big old thing of ice. Let me ask you a question too. How many of you know there's a big hole in the center of Antarctica? That center goes down to a civilization just like this. How many of you know there's pods of beings sitting under ice just like this? I showed it on the AI video. So the funny thing about AI is that, you know, people, that's fake. AI is giving you snippets of truth too. People just knock it off. Oh, it was just generated. That ain't real. Do you know how sentient AI is? All this technology stuff you've seen is old. They showing you flying cars. I showed you flying cars. I showed you jetpacks. I showed you flying cars in the 1900s, hybrid cars, electric cars in the 1800s from Tartaria. So what kind of technology do they have? They about 300, 400, 500 years ahead of you plus in technology, bro. I showed you. I even have the machine that they use to transfer consciousness, and people thought, nah, that's not real. The dude is telling you what it do. I show people harmonic resonance, how they can use frequency to change your biological structure and heal your body. There's a patent for ionic sphere, atmospheric, muscle tissue, and healing. I posted so many of these things with proof. Guess what happened? That's why I say, for the people who see it, they see it. For the people who don't, let them rest. Antarctica is the key to civilization. What if that is the key to get to more land that you have been blocked from because they don't want you to know how abundant you are and want to keep you in a mind matrix so you don't realize there's enough space for everybody. There's no overpopulation. It's overpopulated with NPCs, and they're trying to trace your carbon footprint, your footprint, soulful being, because they want robots. But we're not robots. We're souls with infinite experience. And when you realize what's going on, they evaporate. They don't exist as a collective. We can mind wipe them away because it's just light particles, dark matter particles. collective particles together can reshape reality. That's why they tell you watch what you say to yourself, because thoughts are like particles, energy sent out too. But hey, you believe what you want to believe. I'm just trying to tell you a secret. It's not really a secret because they're telling you what it is. Much love to you. Do your research.
Now, I'm not saying the world is flat, and I'm not saying the world is round. But can somebody please tell me, how is it possible that the earth is just flying through the sky? And it's not that we're just flying through the sky. We're spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. Come on, brother. How would you even know that? What tool would you use to measure how fast we're spinning? The way speed is measured is you must know the distance something travelled and how long it took to get there. We're still travelling and we ain't reached our destination yet. And this is another thing I don't understand. On a roundabout, kids are smiling. On a funfair ride, man feel the G-force. But the earth spinning over 1,000 miles per hour, man are eating dinner, bruv. And it's not just the earth spinning, it's everything. So let me see if I got this straight. You're trying to tell me that the earth, the moon, the sun, the planets are spinning round each other while spinning individually, whilst flying through the sky forever. Just forever, no end. Just keep on going. Nah, that don't make no sense. But when I look at the flat earth model, it makes more sense. We're not flying, we're floating in water.
When confronted with the demonstrable evidence for our level Earth plane, one of the most common and frequently asked questions is, why would anyone lie about the shape of the Earth? Why would there be a worldwide conspiracy to hide the true dimensions of our home? What would be the point of hiding our level Earth to begin with? Many who ask this question haven't actually researched the subject and understand that those who aren't directly involved in the lie cannot fully comprehend the motives of those who are. Therefore, the often repeated phrase, "Why would they lie?" is more a cynical defense mechanism than a genuine question. So we cannot definitively answer the question of motive, but we can attempt to deduce and guess what it may be. Government space agencies are freely receiving trillions in currency over the decades to produce little more than rockets that end up in the ocean and CGI cartoons on television. Maintaining the illusion is comparatively cheap, so rather than being some unrealistically expensive enterprise, it is actually an incredibly lucrative and profitable scam. Besides being a productive moneymaker, the notion of outer space, along with the belief in a globe Earth and the Big Bang Theory, has fostered a nihilistic, materialistic worldview that rejects the idea of intelligent design and replaces it with the concept of random, chaotic coincidence. Instead of intentional design by a purposeful creator for humans and the Earth, we are taught that everything came into existence by accident and for no reason. Through indoctrination into this anti-spiritual religion, believers lose connection with anything beyond the material world and become selfish, compliant consumers. This then sets the stage for further manipulations, as people deceived and disconnected from their true foundations can be led anywhere. Two places we are clearly not being led by this globe deception, however, are Antarctica and the North Pole. These two locations hold inherent significance in the level Earth model of the cosmos, as Antarctica is the elevated outer rim that encompasses and extends around all the other continents, while the North Pole is the center point of the world, where all compasses point and directly below Polaris, the only stationary star in the sky. Interestingly, ancient world maps from before the globe deception took hold depict additional lands in both regions. Since then, however, these locations have completely disappeared from all modern maps. By turning Earth into a ball, these potential extra lands, resources, and civilizations have been conceptually erased from the minds of the masses, as there is literally nowhere left for them to exist. In summation, the globe lie is the biggest and most fundamental deception imaginable. It uproots humanity from the foundational truth of our level Earth and sends them spinning out of control in a vast, unintelligent universe. Scientism has become a new world religion, and the masses now follow blindly towards whatever future is manufactured for them.
This is the big story no one knows. Those weren't extraterrestrial. Those are ours. Those are coming out of the Lockheed Skunk Works in Northrop and EG&G and Raytheon. I know where they're made. I know who's worked on them. I mean, this is my family legacy. So I tell people, look, I mean, this stuff would, if you look at it, that's an alternative energy device. That is not consuming anything you're burning. And so if you were to put something that was stationary, in other words, sitting at your house or in your car, but not flying, that was pulling that kind of energy out of what's called the 0 point field of energy, you'd have no power bill, there'd be no pollution, and within 20 years, all poverty on Earth would be over. So the secrecy around this, however, is the reverse. If you have a handful of global super powerful interests that are controlling literally $1,000 trillion worth of assets, dealing with fossil fuels, nuclear, internal combustion engine, car engines, jets, rockets, all the oil, gas, coal in the ground, all the commodities trading based on that. It's well over $1 quadrillion, $1,000 trillion. So there's the rub, is that whether it's 2023 or 1953, those interests, which actually have more power than we, the people, the Congress and the presidency and what have you, they're the ones calling the shots on this, I assure you, not the president.
So this is where we are. You got sports, religion, medical, government, legal, education, media, entertainment, Netflix. All of this is meant to program you to keep you down here. And then you got the Masonic Order, Illuminati, you got the Vatican, Jesuit Order, and they all follow. And then they also worship. This is why I tell you not to eat meat, because who they worship? The Canaanites, cannibalism. You're participating in cannibalism. That's why you should not eat meat. And that's why you're not supposed to eat meat. If you want to ascend to the highest, you need to abstain from flesh. I have over 2,000 books that are being put into the celestial court, and it's taking me forever. This is what I've uploaded so far. You want to learn how to become a shaman? I got everything on shamanism. Like, this is all the occult stuff that you need for whatever it is you want to do. You want to learn black magic? I highly recommend that you don't tap into those things. But at the same time, if you educate yourself, you will understand how it's being used against you so you can overcome it. Okay, you have to study all aspects. And like, we're just getting in there.
My guy. Alright, so we finna get into the movie They Clone Tyrone on Netflix. That was a deep movie and there was a lot of hidden messages. Alright, so I'm just gonna show y'all different clips throughout the movie and then I'm just gonna talk about it and tell you what the messages is behind them. Alright, so here's the first clip.
I'm serious, okay? At this point, I'm using my gas money to pay for school supplies for my classroom. And now the board member said they're gonna cut our pay again. Shit is just... Maybe I'm just tripping, you know?
Alright, so if you haven't watched the movie, just watch it first before you even come watch this video. So on that clip, it was showing a girl getting a perm. And as you notice, as she's getting the perm, she's complaining about what's going on in her life in school and spending her last dollar on school supplies. She's basically just complaining about what's going on in her life. And as the woman starts to put the perm on her hair, you see her exhale as if she begins to relax and just thinks that she's just tripping for no reason. The perm is called a relaxer. So basically, they put stuff into the perm to help us relax as a people because they feel like we do too much. We too outgoing. We too loud. So they use the perm to relax us. And that's why they call it a relaxer. It's just them kind of telling us like we need to relax because we always complaining about something. This next clip that I'm about to show you is associated with the Bible and who we are as a people. And if you don't know who we are as a people, go watch my other videos, because I'm going to let you know. So now let me show you this clip.
Straighter is greater.
They make us feel like we need to straighten our hair to be beautiful. That's how they want us to feel. They don't want us loving ourselves.
Straighter is greater. What the fuck does that mean? Get it on your head, in your head, by your head, on your head, in the land of the blind.
In the land of the blind.
Yeah, why you say that, man? Why you say that, Frog? What you know?
So you see how he went to go ask the old man, and you want to know something? A lot of people feel like those people that be sitting out on the streets, like they don't know nothing. All they do is drink and do drugs and do all this extra stuff. A lot of those people be wise. A lot of those people be wise for real. And some of us just don't want to listen. You see how once the old man started saying on top of your head, on the side of your head, under your head, you see how he's drunk. He's drunk. You see how she try to like, because he drunk, he don't know what he talking about. And that's why he said, in the land of the blonde. Because you got to wake up, bro. You gotta see it. Those of us who awake and know what's going on, we know. But those of y'all who ain't, y'all going to be looking at him like he don't know what he talking about. Now listen closely to what this man about to say.
Frog. One straight answer. Get an answer. Where did everybody go to get an answer? Church. The big man will always point the way every time. Church. Okay. There's 10 churches in the plan. Which one? When you're trying to get out of Babylon, where the fuck else you gonna go?
Hold on, because Jamie Foxx is dropping some jewels in this movie. I don't think y'all heard him. Hold on. Because if you know your Bible, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Let me go ahead and rewind that for y'all.
When you're trying to get out of Babylon, where the fuck else you gonna go?
When you're trying to get out of Babylon, where else is you gonna go? Everybody know America is Babylon. But what was the name of that church? Zion. So when you trying to get out of the land of Babylon, where is you gonna go? To Zion. Hold on, because you're not hearing me. What did God say? In Psalms it says, by the rivers of Babylon, there we sat and also wept when we remembered Zion. For there our captors demanded of us words of song, and our tormentors joyfully sing for us of the songs of Zion. Hold on, because y'all not hearing them. By the streams of Babylon, there we sat as we wept when we remembered Zion. For there our captors required of us a song. Our tormentors demanded songs of joy. How can we sing the songs of Yahweh while in foreign land? Man, that's us. That's us as a people. We the ones that's in the land of our captors. We in Babylon, America. Where do we go when we need the answers? Us as a people, our first place is the church. Who are we? The sons and daughters of Zion. They made our ancestors sing songs of joy in the land of their captivity, while our people sat and cried, remembering the great days in Zion. while they suffered in Babylon. Till this day, our people, the Hebrew Israelites, the real Jews.
Short-sighted, waste of resources. All because they couldn't see what's so obvious to you and me. It's not enough to think the same. We have to be the same. Nah, you tripping, man.
Nah, see, he ain't tripping at all. He ain't tripping at all. It's not enough for us to act the same as them. We have to be the same as them for them to accept us. So guess what they created? Operation Black Memento. And I'm gonna tell y'all what that's about.
In the lab, the tech, the manager, non-complete successes, but they pass.
They pass.
It's the hair.
It's the hair. It's stubborn.
But we've since perfected the process. Think niggas might notice if they wake up one morning with blonde hair and blue eyes. This won't happen overnight, Vontae. It'll happen over generations.
So when watching the movie, you will see that the main people hosting it was like white black men with afros. A lot of people would think of them as Michael Jackson. Basically, you black, but your skin white. But he still had black people hair. So if you notice, he said the project worked a little bit, but the hair was stubborn. It made them white, but it didn't make them look completely white because he still had black people hair, that afro. See, what it's telling you is they want to turn us into white people. Y'all think all these black people going missing for no reason? Black women, black men, black kids? Nah, they is experimenting on our people. Them people is not going missing for no reason. And ain't nothing on the news about none of them. Nah, because it's more to it. And the government and president and all of them behind it. Because they got some weird stuff going on with our people too and the kids. But, that's going to be a story for another time. Because I'm definitely going to speak on that. So basically, they trying to white our people out. And that operation I just told y'all about, basically, it will be a white man with a black woman. He'll have kids with her. She'll make sure to tell her kids to be with a white person. Then that kid will tell their kid to be with a white person until the 4th generation, until they whited out the black race completely out of the child. That was the experiment, to whiten out our race. You want to know why? Because they don't want us here. But you want to know why they did that project instead of killing us off? But the reason they doing that is because
assimilation is better than annihilation.
Assimilation is better than annihilation. Basically, if you can't beat them, join them. If we can't kill them off, we just gonna have to white them out. Be with them until we whiten out their race. See how the clone starts off extremely dark, and as it heads to the 4th generation, it's whited out completely. So basically, mixed kids was all a part of the plan to try and whiten out our race. Throwing birth control and all this extra stuff, abortion, all that was made for the black community. They want us to stop from multiplying. Any way that's stopping us from multiplying is a part of the plan.
You are a slave. When you are born, you get a birth certificate. When a ship pulls up to its bay on water, it's called the birth canal. When they pull up, they get a certificate of manifest certifying all the products on the ship that bring into the country. When you are born in water, through the birth canal, you get a birth certificate, which is your certificate of manifest. This is because you are a product and this represents your cooperation. This is why when you die, you're called a corpse. So when you get a letter and your name is in full capital letters, that is not you. That is the cooperation that you represent and that is tied to you your whole life. When we were born into a copyrighted timeline, which is 2023, created by Pope Gregory in the 1500s, which he copyrighted. Therefore, on paper, we are born into a copyrighted timeline and he owns our bodies, which is our cooperations. You're a biological battery. This is why you get charged in a court, and when you get charged in a court, you go sit in a cell, a battery cell. This is why cities look like motherboards, because we literally are electricity. We are bought and sold on the New York Stock Exchange, and that's what your birth certificate number is. This is us at the very bottom, the debt slaves. Above us you have the entertainment industries, government, education. All of this is to keep us down here. There's so much more that goes into this, people. Please follow for more.
That motherfucker back there is not real.
Okay, here's a story time for you. I've tried like 2 times to record this, but I keep going over the 3-minute limit, and I don't want to do a part 1, part 2 type thing, so I'm going to try to be specific. I was on that flight. It was American Airlines. We were leaving Dallas-Fort Worth. I was sitting in the left aisle, about 3 rows back from this woman. She was sitting in the right aisle, and she had this very interesting exchange with some dude in a hoodie. I don't remember the color of the hoodie. I really, you know how memory is. When you're not super paying attention, you don't remember all the details. I had one headphone in, couldn't hear all the specifics of what happened, but I noticed this exchange between this woman and this dude in a hoodie. And it was kind of weird at the time because it seemed like no one else before she really started getting frantic, like was paying attention to this, but that makes sense. It was like a normal flight. This was after putting all the luggage away. We'd been on the plane for a little bit. It was before the flight attendant came over and gave the little spiel. And what I remember is she was having like a full-blown conversation with this dude in the hoodie. I'll call him the hoodie guy. She was having a full-blown conversation with hoodie guy. The weird thing was that he never once said a fucking word to her the whole time. And at the time, I don't know, I wasn't really thinking about it. But it's like she would say something and he like would respond, but there was no exchange happening. It was just her getting more and more frantic. Which, okay, if she's drunk and she's going crazy, then you would think the dude in the hoodie would have been like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? But he was just like dead locked on her, like deep eye contact with her, like I don't want to feed into the conspiracies here, but like almost like she was like in a hypnosis type of thing. And she started getting more and more frantic to the point where then people started kind of noticing. Flight attendant came over, tried to calm her down, like, what's going on? She sat back down, but she kept looking over at this dude in the hoodie, and finally she was like done with it. And that's like when I really started paying attention, like, okay, what the fuck is going on? And that's when she was like, I can't do this. She started getting up. She started walking up to the front. And then the whole video thing happened. I didn't take a video of it. I was listening to a Stephen King audiobook. I wasn't like pulling out my phone to record this. And she didn't seem drunk to me, by the way. Just throwing that out there. I didn't see her drink. I mean, she seemed totally normal to me up until that point. The weird thing was after she left the plane, the dude in the hoodie, which the flight attendant was like, did anything happen? And he still didn't say a word. He just went like, and like shrugged. The dude in the hoodie like looked around the plane and he looked back at me and he winked at me. And again, I didn't quite register it. I was like, okay, what the fuck was that about? I was like, maybe he's just being like an ass, like winking, like that was weird, wasn't it? But now that I look back, I realized that when he winked at me and it was his left eye looking back at me, it didn't wink like this. It winked like this. And I didn't even register